6:32. Let's call the May 18th FinCom meeting to order. I'll take a roll call. Aaron?
Here.
Amy?
Here.
Rick?
Here.
Steve? Steve?
Here.
Peter?
Present.
Mike cannot make it. Tom?
Here.
Walter?
Here.
Bonnie?
Here.
Thank you. Paula?
Here.
Awesome. Sonia, did you make it tonight?
I'm here.
Awesome. All right. I know there's been there was email sent out last Friday, and then we got another one earlier today. So I guess without further ado, I'll just hand it over to Mike to go over some of this material.
Bill, if we could, before we start, could we plan next week? Obviously, Monday's a holiday, so would people be available on Wednesday?
I'm good.
Well, let's, given the remote nature, we have to go through this again. So here we go. Who just say yes or no to whether you're available next Wednesday? Aaron?
Yes.
Thank you. Amy?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Walter?
Yes.
Bonnie?
Yes.
Paula?
Maybe. Sorry.
That's okay. It's okay. Sonia?
Yes.
And I believe I'm a yes. So, okay.
All right. And then after that, on the Mondays, I talked with Joe Byetta today, and he'll be available on June 1st to attend that meeting to talk on the school budget.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I just sent out a budget message today. I can read it if you want.
Gosh, I don't want to go through the the whole thing again.
Yeah.
I mean, I read it.
Okay.
I'm hoping everybody else read it, but if there's, I guess if you want to give us the the 50,000 foot version.
Just basically, obviously, the message talks about the difficulties that we're all experiencing right now and the uncertainties. But with that, the hope that we'll move forward with a budget, a town meeting and a budget, and just some of the considerations for the budget. Our new growth is 745,000. That is a reduction of 154,268. $154,268 from FY20 estimate. I'm assuming a local aid estimate of 16,441,084, and that is a 10% reduction from our current FY20 aid, unrestricted government aid of that's $220,702. And the big unknown is the Chapter 70. If that's cut 10%, then that'd be a serious issue, because that would be a cut of $1,282,739. And the hope is there that the federal government's going to come through and give the state some funding to help maintain the Chapter 70. Our local receipts are reduced by $1,333,049, or 23% from FY 2019. And some of the things that I'll be looking for the support from the Finance Committee on is, again, $600,000 from free cash, $439,500 from stabilization to help cover some of the cut in the state aid and reduction in receipts and new growth, and an increase of the use of ambulance receipts by $100,000 to bring that to $700,000. Coastal County budget is a reduction because it's been reduced from $100,000 to $19,336. We have not been hit with the assessment on their new construction yet. So we may have another year before that happens. And the Southeastern Regional budget, and I have reached out to them again, and I'll let you know, Bill, when they can come. Their budget has a significant increase, and their budget was prepared before COVID-19 emergency. So I'm hoping that they can do something to reduce that budget. So based on the revenues available, the entire budget is about a 2.5% increase. The general government budget will increase 2.2%, or $301,584. And the Norton Public Schools budget will increase 2.5%, or $748,941. So to accomplish that, there had to obviously be reductions. The original request from all the departments on the town side was a 4.24% increase, $573,903. So that's being reduced, $272,319. The public schools budget, the original request was an 8% increase, or $2,395,220. And this will reduce that by $1,646,279. And I presented you with my budget recommendations, and at your next meeting, we could start going over all the budgets if that's what you want to do.
I'll kind of, leave that up to the wishes of the whole board. But one question though, when you were talking about local aid, what was the number you were using?
Local aid, $16,441,804. Let me say that again, $16,441,084.
So what's the difference then between your estimated middle column, which is at 16,441,000, versus the column to the right, which is 16,158,000?
Okay, I probably used I'll have to double check that, Bill. I know that it was reduced $220,702, so it's the 16, I'll have to look at the actual total local aid, but it has been reduced 220,702.
Okay. And, well, I'll maybe circle back. Does anybody have questions?
Hi, Bill.
Is that Aaron?
It is, it's Aaron. Mike, on the chapter 70, you're making a ballpark guess that it's going to be a 10% reduction.
Aaron, that's on the unrestricted general aid that we get from the state. The chapter 70, we've just held that at the governor's number right now. Unfortunately, our chapter 70 never goes up that much. So our increase this year was only 72,000. So we're hoping that with federal funding that they will hold chapter 70 harmless, at least give us what we got this year, which would only have to find $72,000 in the budget.
But that number that we're using to try to guess as to what it might be is coming from the governor?
Right.
Thank you.
So, one quick question, Mike, from the estimated revenue from the local aid and actually the overall budget, I know there's roughly, I think you said I see 439,000 from stabilization, another 100,000 from ambulance receipts.
Mm-hmm.
How confident, and I know it's a tough question, but how confident are we that the local aid will be reached at that 6,100,000? And then with the supplements that we have from stabilization and the ambulance receipt, what I heard last time was that local aid was roughly $1 million less than anticipated so far with just 2 months of close downs, if you will. Are we doing enough to offset potential? Are we using a pretty conservative local aid number here?
We are using a conservative number. I mean, not ultra conservative, but the problem is using the conservative number. We may have, my next concern obviously is 2022, because we're not going to generate a lot of free cash probably next year. But this, will get us through this year.
Amy, did you have a question?
I was just wondering if the State House has given any advice on when we might have more final budget numbers. Do they have a date in mind?
I talked to Senator Feeney 2 weeks ago, and he said he was hoping that they would have a budget resolution within 2 to 3 weeks. Well, the 2 weeks has gone by, so I will reach out to them again and hopefully have an answer for you next Wednesday. But they have really not been concentrating on the budget at all.
So I don't know if I'm jumping the gun. I tend to sometimes do that. But we think of the budget, I think of the budget and the process we go through. So at this time of year, COVID circumstances notwithstanding, we balance a budget. And then in October, we play the game of catch up. I guess my concern, just looking ahead 5 months and then, you know, a year from now, is that if we do the normal thing we do in October, then how much worse will next year be? Because we normally let everybody do their thing, and then we'll say, well, we'll play catch up in October, but I'm not sure we can do that this year. And so I guess I'm more concerned with have some tough conversations already started to be had.
I think that's a warning that people should be aware of, because we don't know until October. Obviously, we always make adjustments in October, and it can be up or it could be down. That's something that people should be aware of, that you may not be getting more money in October. You may not, but it's something that we, as you said, we don't know right now. I can tell you that our receipts right now are $1 million ahead of what was anticipated on our local receipts. So, and we have 2 months to go.
And anticipated based on the budget of last year, or anticipated since this crisis began?
Anticipated what we budgeted for last year.
Okay. Because I guess in the back of my head, and you know, I don't want any department to think I'm picking on them or anything, because I'm not. It's really just, you know, the schools usually come back for a chunk of what they've been shorted to make the budget work. But also the police and the fire come back for the overtime, which I'm going to assume, without getting into detail, has been cut to make this budget work. And I guess I'm trying to think, well, if the money isn't there, then what's their plan B for, sorry, there's no money for overtime and, you know, all that kind of stuff.
I'll make sure that they're on for the meeting when we do talk about their budgets.
Okay.
And I know in discussion with the superintendent, the hope is that from what they're not going to be paying in bus fees this year, because school has been shut down, there'll be some turn back there. So in their budget, like they did last year, they can hold out a payment for this, that they don't make to the school bus company until the fall, that they can add that in the fall if that money's available.
I thought Dr. Byetta at the selectmen's meeting, or was it ours? I can't.
It was ours last week, Bill.
Yeah, where he basically said he's not sure he can not, or he's not sure he can, basically not pay them and still, you know, go forward with them next year and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, I thought
that'll be interesting.
Right. I thought that was his special ed transportation that he was talking about at the last meeting.
I think he went to actually on both. Because someone brought up, well, hey, if you're not getting the service, why are you paying? And then that created a discussion all to itself. And, you know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know that all the towns that are involved in that contract were negotiating a settlement. So I'm not sure where he's at with that right now.
Okay.
Bill, can we take a note to double check with him and make sure that that comes up when we have him on again? Because I think the issue he had was that, you know, they're part of a purchasing group that placed a vote
Right,
And
and
he voted to not pay for a service they're not getting, but was outvoted by the other members of the group, and that puts him in a position where,
yeah, what do you do?
yeah.
Yeah,
So- We may want to follow up with him on just, what the odds, chances, realistic scenario is of, that money not getting spent.
I'll let him know to be prepared for that.
all right, so
Thank you.
that'll be June 1st?
Correct.
Okay. So at this point, do I take it you don't want to go into the budgets, or let me back up. Has the select board met since we met a week ago to determine the full extent of whatever this meeting will be?
The selectmen have scheduled a meeting for Wednesday
Okay,
to discuss town meeting.
okay, so that's what the Wednesday meeting's about, okay.
Yeah.
So at this point, we're still on for, was it June 8th or whatever?
Yeah, we can't meet any of those deadlines. That can't happen. That's definitely not happening.
Okay, okay. So,
Hey, Mike, sorry.
Yes,
Have you communicated your recommendation with all the other department heads at this point?
I have not.
So maybe it's premature to start approving.
Right, if we start that
right,
next week, I'll have gone through and talked with all of them, and the ones with major cuts will be able to have input.
okay. So then, based on the agenda here, we don't really have a timeline at this point. That doesn't potentially get a little clearer until Wednesday.
Wednesday.
And then between now and the following, or tomorrow and the following Wednesday, you would have had discussions with all the department heads to give them the good news.
Right.
All right, then I'm not sure what more we can really discuss based on the agenda.
Hey, Bill?
So, is that Walter?
Yeah, so
Okay.
then, just a question for Mike. What will be available next Wednesday then? For our meeting?
The full budget. And I'll go over with all department heads their cuts. And
Okay, but you won't have any feedback from them at that point, right?
from the department heads,
Yeah.
sure, you know what, I will.
Oh,
Yeah,
you'll do all that in the next week, okay.
yes,
great.
yeah.
Okay. Good.
And is the material anything different than kind of the synopsis you've already provided us, or is it really the, pages and pages of stuff?
It would be the same.
Okay.
And I'll let you know what the cuts are.
Okay. All right, and given that it's a holiday, is Friday too early? Or is it gonna be like Tuesday that we get that stuff?
Friday should be fine.
Okay. as far as the budget issues are concerned, I don't have anything else. If anybody else does.
Just one, Mike,
Just one question, Mike.
Yeah,
What's our balance of free cash now?
our balance in free cash right now, let me find it, it's in, what's that?
After we put the 600,000 in.
Well, our balance right now is $1 million, just over $1 million.
Thank you.
And that's
Mike, has
before we
anyone,
put the
have you
600
asked, at least an initial go-around of any potential or close to certain turnbacks that we would be getting from this year's budget?
I don't have, an idea on that yet. I know last year our turnbacks were about 982,000. And, I don't know, there will be turnbacks because you figure a lot of different things, conferences that didn't occur, and, some utility savings, things like that. So there should be turnbacks.
Okay. And I noticed going through the school budget, and I don't remember what the communication was, but we don't see the personnel items anymore. Like the town stock has all of the salaries, stipends, longevity, steps all laid out for us. And the schools don't do that. Is that something that we decided last year? I just can't remember why we don't get that anymore. I know we did it a couple of years ago, but looking at last year's 2020 and then again in 2021, we don't get that. Is that something that they requested not to provide or we didn't get?
I'll leave that up to you. I don't remember you not requesting it. It's just a way that they're presenting it.
Okay.
I thought we got a summary of, principal line items and, may not been down to the name, but I thought it was down to the school level and positions.
We got it down to the school level, and it's okay for principals, if you will, there's not that many. But if someone's get lost in how many teachers we're talking about and some of the other teacher line items, but they did break it down between the different schools. It's
Right.
Paraprofessionals, regular.
And then Steve, we asked subsequent, and I know they provided it. They were upset that we kept asking, but I know they provided it.
For 2021?
No, for 2020.
Okay. And I don't know if any had a chance to look at the school budget, but I know even the revenue form that they're using has changed from previous year. And my preference was the same as they used for 2020. I don't know if anyone else had any kind of a opinion on what was provided.
I'm gonna take the silence as no one else had an opinion.
Okay.
Sorry, I logged off somehow, died, so I had to reboot, I just came back on, what was the question?
So Steve is indicating that the school presentation that we got, I don't know, a month ago or so, that I sent out a week or two ago, that it's presented differently than it was historically. And, I'm going to assume, since I don't have it up in front of me right now, that it makes it a little more difficult to compare year to year. So the basic question was, has anybody else noticed that, and does it really irk anybody else that in the week and a half or so, you know, can we just go back and say, hey, can you kind of format it as has always been?
I don't think irk is not the word I was thinking, but I think it's consistency.
Right. And I'm going to take the silence as
Yep, it's definite.
is no one else is or everybody else is able to move forward with the.
Bill, can I say something?
So,
Yeah,
I would-
who is that?
okay, go ahead.
Is that Paula?
No, that's Sonia.
Sonia, go ahead.
Yeah, so as a teacher for the city of Brockton, they do list all of our salaries on the newspaper. So it's all itemized. They tell basically everybody who we are, what we do, what department we work for, and who we work for. So just as a perspective, I know Rehoboth, they do that because on the Facebook page of Rehoboth, there was some controversy last year because they posted the salaries of in the town meeting, and people were up in arms because there was some conflict of interest or whatever. So just for perspective, I just want to say that.
Well, I know in our book that no one looks at, if you flip to the back, it has every town employee's salary.
Yeah, the annual report, definitely, but some of the things that I would be interested in, just what the position they're in, the hire date, and then all those steps and stipends. The annual report just has total,
Salary.
I believe.
Yeah.
Hey, Bill?
Yes.
Bill?
Yeah.
Rick. Now, just, what I remember last year from the school presentation, where there was a little bit of, I don't know if confusion is the right word, but, there seemed to be the school's administrative office, the salary positions or the personnel positions were rolled up into the, I believe, the principal's office. So if you looked at that line item, the principal would be X amount of dollars, but really what was included in that was the office as well. So if I remember, that's how, there was a little bit of confusion on understanding how that broke up.
Okay.
And then, Mike, I was just curious too, is any delay for the 911, I'll call it collaborative, with the shutdown, with construction or anything else? Is that still?
That construction was considered essential, so it was never shut down. So they still are on track. October.
If I remember right, our budget had numbers supporting the town side up until that point. And then
Correct.
That's okay.
Okay, anybody else? Okay. So we've done new business, town meeting timeline, budget presentations. So sticking with the schools, I had received an email today from Dr. Byetta on behalf of the school committee indicating that he wanted to set up a joint meeting between all three boards, and he has indicated he's heard nothing from the selectmen. And so he said, well, then can we just present to FinCom in regards to the cost of the food distribution going on in town via the schools? And I had indicated to him, I was pretty sure that as part of the Wednesday select board meeting, that this topic was going to come up. But he indicated, well, it's not on the agenda and they don't want to keep waiting. So I said, okay, I'll throw it out at tonight's meeting. If basically looking for less than a quorum to potentially sit on an ad hoc committee to determine the cost and how it's going to run through the budget, I guess into next year, for the food distribution. And I know Steve had indicated a couple of weeks ago, if that were to happen, he'd be interested. I know Paula had indicated, given her experience, that she knows of, potential funding sources. So I don't want to volunteer Paula as well, but you would be a great addition should this ad hoc come to be. So then I would guess I'm looking for another 2 to 3 people if interested.
What would the ad hoc committee do? I thought I got an email from Dinesh saying he doesn't understand why you need an ad hoc committee. And we don't usually agree on much.
So, as I said, I turned back to Dr. Baeta and I said, I'm pretty sure the selectmen are going to talk about this on Wednesday. So, I'll put a placeholder out there for next Thursday, but I'm not sure it's necessary.
Well,
Yeah.
the selectmen did talk about it at their last meeting, and Mary Steele and Renee said they'd represent the selectmen on the ad hoc committee.
Okay, because I don't know if anybody has actually told the school committee or Dr. Baeta, because that's why they're reaching out to me, because when that
I'll let him know.
initial invitation came out, I said, well, sure, just tell me when and where, and I'm sure I can get volunteers. With all this said, I believe it's the school committees and Dr. Baeta's idea that they'd much prefer to just make a presentation and have a sit down and maybe we can come to some conclusion, agreements, whatever, versus creating an ad hoc committee. So, right then and there seems to be opposing views on how to accomplish the mission.
I guess, Bill, the
Tom.
question I have is, we know they're doing the food deal. I don't know how long it lasts, how long it's going to last. But the amount of money they're spending, fine, they probably got a number somewhere. So what would this ad hoc committee do? Print the money? Are they looking to get the money from somebody? Well, that's what I'm trying to understand. I know they're spending the money. I know that because I know people that the seniors go down there and get food. But I just want to understand, what are they looking for? Are they looking for somebody to give them the money or what?
Well, again, I've been contacted I think it was Renee who contacted me with, hey, what about an ad hoc? And I was like, you know, my personal opinion is, I think the three groups need to get together to figure out what the purpose is before we just say, let's create an ad hoc committee. Because I'm not sure what the purpose is.
I agree, and that's my question. If there's a specific person, you know, what do we want to do with this committee? Just sit around and have another committee? We could committee this town to death, just like, you know, doing, it just doesn't make any sense to me at this point. How many dollars did they spend? Do they need the money? Don't they need the money? What's the bottom line?
Right.
Tom, I think one of the things when I was on the school committee call when this came up was really stated was there are a whole bunch of questions out there. We want to get them answered. Now, I don't know what those questions are. I know we've had some ourselves, additional what the cost that we were learning about FEMA. Now we know there's a 75% reimbursement. You know, how does this go on? FEMA only the school is probably only a school year, right? The cafeteria for the school is a school year. If we're going FEMA, as it continue on all summer, things like that, I think are some of the questions that were out there. So.
But again, you know, to Tom's point, is that an ad hoc or is that just, you know, here are the questions we have, can someone get answers? I don't know if it is to the point where you need an ad hoc committee.
Yeah, and I think to your point, Bill, I think maybe what we do, if it's from people, if the questions are coming from the FinCom, let's just solicit those questions, make a list and present it to the school committee and see whether that's what it is and have the selectmen do the same. At least then the communication's starting. We might not need an ad hoc.
That sounds great, Steve.
Well, then to that point, if people could, you know, whatever their questions are, send them to Steve and I, and we can then forward them off to the school committee and Dr. Baer. And I would say, you know, this week.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that we definitely need to figure out what the plan is. The last day of school is 4 weeks from today. So we're on a timeline for sure.
Right.
I think even just an exit strategy as well. You know, we can't continue.
Right. Not that this mom is counting down to the last day of school at all. But 4 weeks from today, I am a free woman.
Are you? Because they're still going to be in the house.
I'm just gonna like park them in front of the Xbox with some popcorn, and I won't hear from them for hours. Now it's like, hey, can you help me get this picture into this Google Doc? I'm like, I got a call, gotta go. Sorry.
Listen, Amy, I have a big problem. I can't get my hair cut until next week.
You know, I got a pair of clippers, Tom. You come by, I'll stand in the driveway, and it'll be over before you even know it.
That would be a good fundraiser.
There you go. Okay, so talked about the schools. So unless anybody has anything else in regards to new business, we do have Word documents. 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of minutes.
Hey, Bill? I do have questions, that's all right. The FinCom, what's the due date, do we know?
I'm gonna guess that it's gonna be based on whenever the X number of weeks prior to the town meeting.
So what's that X number of weeks, Mike?
So the warrant with your recommendations has to be posted, if there's no special 7 days before the town meeting. if there's a special, 14 days before. So we don't know until we know if and when there's gonna be a town meeting.
Okay.
And at what point do we have to have the public hearing?
Um,
And how does that really differ from what we're doing now?
yeah. So, let's see. I don't have that. I can tell you, if the town meeting was sometime around, say, June 25th, you'd have to post, the warrant with recommendations on June 16th. And I'll have to double check on, if there's a timeline, when that is for your public hearing.
Because even in COVID, we don't want to miss that deadline, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, if, assuming that there's a date, approved on Wednesday, that we can then figure out our timeline, prior to our meeting next week. Case there's like overtime some of us have to do.
We'll give you that timeline if they set the town meeting Wednesday night.
All right. Awesome. All right then. Do we want to start to review minutes of February 26th?
Chairman?
Bill, if I could, oh, sorry.
Oop.
Whoever wants to take
It's,
it.
it's
Go ahead,
Aaron.
Aaron.
It's Aaron.
The acting chair of the evening.
Yay. Dr. Byetta is referred to as Mr. Byetta throughout, or often. I think it should be doctor.
Noted.
Just small thing.
No, he earned it.
6 years in superintendent school, I guess, right?
I didn't realize I asked so many questions in that meeting.
It was a long meeting.
So I'll entertain a motion, I'm gonna assume from the people who were there.
Mr. Chairman,
Chairman,
I make a motion that we accept the meeting as amended. for
Second.
February.
I have a motion from Peter and a second from Amy. There goes the fun. All those in favor? Aaron,
Aye.
Amy,
aye.
Rick? Nope, you weren't there. We'll get back to you.
Yes.
Steve? Steve, did I lose you?
Yeah, all right. Can you hear me?
Let's see. Peter?
Aye.
And Walter? Yes. Paula?
Yes.
Okay. Does anybody oppose? Just shout it out.
Abstain.
Abstain, Rick?
Yes.
Isn't that Tom?
Abstain.
Bonnie?
I'm abstaining.
And myself. So that takes care of February 26th as amended. I believe we have February, I'm sure,
27th.
Yeah, but when I pull it up, it says the 26th. No?
It's the. Number.
Mine, 27, so it's
Yeah, next one's
Here we
27th.
go.
I've got it.
All right, so now February 27th.
it doesn't say who was there. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just noticed that.
Yeah, I wasn't there.
I know that I was not there.
I think it was the same as the day before.
I wasn't there either.
I was there for sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was there for this one.
I was there as well.
Don't think you were. Bill.
No, I was.
Oh, no, you were.
Yeah.
You didn't speak until the very end.
It's like Mike was there, Paula was there, Bill was there, and I was there.
I thought I remember everyone being at this one.
No,
I definitely wasn't. I was in Florida.
no, yeah.
I can't remember if I was there.
Mrs. Walter, I was there.
Yeah. Just copy and paste this. Okay, done.
So before Aaron brings up this point, it's Dr. Baeta.
Mr. Chairman,
Peter,
I recommend that we accept the minutes as amended for February 27th.
Second.
was that you, Steve? Steve,
Yes.
were you the second?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll do this a little differently this go around. Just indicate whether you are agreeing or abstaining. Aaron?
Agree.
Amy?
Agree.
Rick?
Abstain.
Steve?
Agree.
Peter?
Agree?
Peter, Tom?
Abstain.
Walter? Bonnie?
Abstain.
Paula?
Agree.
And I agree. Okay. That is the 27th. We have
March 9th.
no. Okay. The minutes of March 9th.
Hey, Sonia,
Yes.
this is Bonnie. It says that I was not there because I'm not listed. I'm assuming that I was.
Yeah, because you're there at the first.
Mr. Carrigan, Mr.
I'm gonna look to see if I.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here it is.
I got
Oh,
it.
I was here too.
Yeah, I got it.
I think everybody was there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is Pete. So on page 3, talks about a Ms. Corrigan, asked if the number would go down in our free cash. I don't know if that's me or not, if there was a Corrigan at the meeting, but it's spelled wrong and I missed her. It's 3, I think. It's in this section, veterans.
It's also above that. First full paragraph.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Speaking of page numbers, is there a convention that we should have page numbers on things like this?
I don't know if there is a hard and fast rule, but it makes life easier.
Yeah, this is a long one. I'd recommend it on even one-page documents. I put page numbers, just so people know.
Mm-hmm.
Amy. He's listed that Amy was not there as well. But she also asked a question, so she must have been.
Yeah.
No, she was there.
Yeah.
Everybody was there.
Mm-hmm. So this is Pete. I saw it again further down. It's a Mr. Corrigan, but it's an A, but search and replace, you'll probably find those. The Ms. and Mr.
Which page was that?
I'm talking to you. 151 legal services.
That's page 7.
Okay.
And 440 to
Also-
450 water sewer.
Yeah.
And then the end where it says, you have minutes and minutes.
And towards the minute where it says somebody needs to mute themselves because they're making a lot of background noise.
That's me.
Okay. All I'm hearing is,
That sounds like a cash machine.
I know, like somebody's counting cash.
Let's talk to that person.
Yeah.
So, Pete, can you say that again? Because I didn't hear. I'm sorry.
Yeah, if you just search in the doc for CORIGN, it's CARIGNN, that's the correct, and you'll find some Mr. and Ms. somewhere different places. Search and
Okay.
replace, should be all set. Do that. That make it simpler?
Yes.
And not surprisingly, my name is misspelled on the last page. It's just the Z and the K are switched.
It says in the section where we approve the minutes that 2 people abstained and then lists 3 people's names.
Got it. Can we check
know which-
if the some of these special vocabulary words that were used are correct? because some of them, I don't know what they were. Some of them were clarified, like the APN, the annual payments to Norton, that was clarified, but I know Bill doesn't like to use mnemonics on these documents, so I'm just want to double check, because a lot of these things, they were not explained what they were.
I think SEMREC ends in 2 Cs.
Okay.
Regional Emergency Communications Center.
And then there's a safer, I don't even know if that's correctly. Go to some else.
The page.
Tanya, that's correct. It's a safer grant.
Okay.
Everybody ready for this one?
Go.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to accept the minutes as amended for March 9th, 2020.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Aaron, a second by Amy. As we did the last time around, yay or abstain. Aaron.
Yay!
Yay. Amy.
Yay.
Rick. He's on mute. Rick.
Abstain.
Okay.
You hear me?
Pete. Yeah.
Yay.
Peter.
To go. Yes.
To go. Tom.
Yeah.
Walter. Anthony.
Yes.
Paula.
Yes.
And I'm a yay. All right.
Did you ask Mr. DeLuca? Tom?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is he
Yes.
abstaining?
No, he's
No.
a yay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Rick abstained. I'm not sure why, but I'm not going to ask. All right. So the last set will be March 11th.
Yeah.
I'm changing the O's to the A's, Pete.
That's okay.
Again, it looks like everybody was there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
On, I guess, Department 910 employee benefits, it's just one of those acronyms. It's, I think if you define it in that first sentence, HI,
Yes. What is it?
it's just health insurance.
Thanks.
And I think in the next paragraph, I think 2 paragraphs after, it's at HSA. You have AS,
HSA,
yeah, health
Health
savings.
Savings Account.
Correct.
I just noticed a couple of spellings, Sonia. So my name, again, the K and the Z in the who was present, just need to be switched. And then, on that same page, in the second paragraph, Lucia's last name, it's.
Yeah, I
spelled
fixed
with-
that.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then Jen Carlino is Carlino with an O on the end. That's on page 3 under 171 conservation. So there's like 4 different times I can see.
3, 4. Yep. What are major ATV cases? Under 141 assessors.
Appellate tax board.
Thank you.
So I'd like to add that while we have a lot of, things we're complaining about, these notes are way better than anything I ever wrote.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Amen to that.
I'm gonna change PA Gen under Board of Health, Public Health to Public Health Nurse.
Yep.
And I just want to mention how this when we're sending this 311, it seemed like it was like 2 years ago that this was discussed. Because at the time, there was no coronavirus cases in Norton.
Seriously. Under maturing debts, 711, in the second paragraph, it says Slater rate. Is that a typo or no?
That's what I understood. I don't even know what the Slater
Does anybody
rate
know or recall what that conversation was?
What page are you on?
Well, it's they're not numbered, but the 711 maturing debt.
That's page 5.
I think that might be sewer bank? No.
No, because the Slater rate includes water and sewer.
Phew, no idea what that is.
Yeah, that's what she mentioned, the Slater rate, water and sewer.
Could be, I've just never heard it before.
Nothing came up on Google. I don't know what a Slater rate is.
I just did the same thing, yeah, I don't see anything.
Where is it? What section?
711, maturing debt,
So page 5.
page 5, yeah. I'm assuming on page 6, under Board of Health, Public Health Nurse, where it says Mr. Y means units.
Yes.
Okay.
That's me when I type fast and I put Y, E, Z.
I totally get it.
In section 910, where it says when we lock down the new HI rates, does that mean health insurance rates?
Yes, that was mentioned.
Very last line on page 5, I think. Yeah,
Health insurance rates, yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Just below that in section 910, there's also the HSA is spelled HAS. The health savings account.
Yeah. Done.
It was about right. Tom called for a motion to adjourn at 10 o'clock. He must have been really sleepy.
That was a long meeting. That was almost 3-hour meeting.
It was our last in-person meeting, so I think we were
Yes.
meeting, not seeing each other for a while. Which is what happened.
That was the meeting I kept wiping down my table because everyone was freaking me out.
That's right, I remember being there, and hopefully we can resume the in-person meeting, right?
Someday.
Hopefully in the near future, right?
Not yet.
I'm just banking and I hope I have a job next year.
Mr. Chairman,
Is that Peter?
yes it is. Make a motion, we accept the minutes as amended.
How about a second?
Okay,
Was that you, Steve?
that's me, yep.
All right. Here we go again. Last time for tonight. Yay or abstain? Aaron?
Yay!
Amy?
Yay.
Rick?
Abstain.
What's up with that? Anyway, Steve?
Yay.
Peter?
I can't open it.
Taylor, yay?
Yay, okay. Tom?
Yay.
Tom, since we don't have to drive, can we have the meeting later? Anyway,
It's okay with me. I can fall asleep here at this meeting.
Walter?
Yay.
Bonnie?
Yay.
Paula?
Yay.
And I'm a yay. All right, so we got through 4 sets of minutes. We'll have more for our next meeting. Mike, are you still with us?
I believe
No.
Mike Units left the building a while ago.
Okay. All right. then, guess we have nothing else until next Wednesday. So it's everybody's favorite time of the evening. Tom,
It's fine. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Same time on the 27th, right? 6:30?
Yes.
That being said, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second. That's Aaron. Second.
So we have a motion by Tom and a second by Aaron. Here we go again. Aaron,
Yay.
Amy,
Yay.
Rick,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Peter,
Yay.
Tom,
Yay.
Walter,
Yay.
Bonnie,
Yay.
Paula,
Yay.
and yay for myself. Thank you, everybody. Have a great week.
Good night. Take care, everybody.
Hey.
You too.
All right,
Have a
Good
good
night,
week.
everyone.
Yeah.
Thanks.